We can speak with Ms. Tara Reade herself now, who's an author, actor and former Senate aide. Thanks so much for joining us, Tara. Good to have you on the programme today. What do you think you've said about Russia-Ukraine tensions that's caused such a stir and such a reaction to your words?
Well, I've talked about it before. Actually, I mentioned in 2019 my support of Russia, and I didn't like the Russophobia and the neo-McCarthyism that's being furthered by neoliberals, frankly. The Biden administration, in my opinion, is basically doing a, switch and bait. It's domestic policies are failing. We have more than 500,000 people that are homeless. We're having issues with people not having enough to eat. There's supply chain issues. None of the agenda that Biden set out was passed, even though the Democrats have the House, the Senate, and the White House. And I would contend that they have no intention of helping the working people. The United States has become an oligarchy. And the current situation is that you have some very neocon hawks who are very interested in the American government and the British government using intelligence, US intelligence and MI6, and weaponizing the media to propagandize. Russia's made it very clear. I mean, if you listened to the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, a few days ago when he said, no one will win this war. He said it clearly. Doesn't sound like a person or a man that wants war. The Ukrainian president has asked for the West to stop the hysteria, that it's causing unrest. So all around you, you can see signs that the propaganda is becoming dangerous. And you have some journalistic voices that are trying to be heard, but it's hard. Aaron Mate, Matt Taibbi, Glenn Greenwald, Brian McDonald, you have those voices trying to get the truth out there that this is actually a distraction from the domestic. We actually raised $787 billion towards weapons in the United States this year. That was passed with no problem. And now they want 25 million more to supply weapons to Ukraine. This is dangerous, and just as President Putin put quite eloquently, no one would win this war.
In the article, you mentioned the ugly emails and the threats that you've received. Just tell us a bit more about your story. What kind of people do you think are behind this flack that you're receiving?
Well, some was investigated. It was Democratic National Committee branches of what they call super PACs. Like one was called Really America, which one person that was tweeting was paid $57,000 over a couple of months to basically smear me, to go after me. So to go back to answer your question directly, I came forward, after going through protocol at the time when I was a Senate aide, and I got no help. And in fact, I was threatened into silence. I kept my silence for a long time. I came forward in 2019 with 7 other women who came forward about being sexually harassed and bothered by Joe Biden. Mine was more serious. I made it clear. I made a police report. I did all the things you're supposed to do. I reached out for help and didn't get it. And in fact, I got threatened into silence and I lost my career. So the coordinated attacks that came forward because the 2020 campaign was so contentious. Joe Biden's, according to FEC reports, spent over $2.2 million to try to keep his reputation clean, and stories like mine either suppressed or smeared. So they went after me using tactics of, changing the conversation. For instance, things that I wrote about Russia, they used as to prove that somehow what happened to me didn't happen. So again, it's switch and bait. They use the same tactics to silence truth. And, it's really disheartening because I'm just an average citizen, and a political machine came at me and basically destroyed my livelihood and my life and my reputation simply because I told the truth. As I was whistleblowing about a personal situation. But like Julian Assange, Daniel Hale, Edward Snowden, they have been revealing government, Western government, American, British, other NATO countries, corruption and elevating it, and they paid for it with their freedom, and they're heroes. I discussed and whistleblew about a personal situation that happened that wasn't fair. It wasn't right. Joe Biden didn't ask for my consent. He didn't get my consent. And I would use that example to say he won't ask the American citizens' consent to go to war.
All right, that's all we have time for. Very interesting talking to you, though. Tara Reade, author, actor, and former Senate aide. Thanks so much for your time here today with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.